Hi, San Mateo County. My name is Michael Stogner, and I'm here to talk to you about today's newspapers. Today's May 31st, 2012. I want to talk about a story that came out this morning in the Palo Alto Daily Post. In the front page, it says, "Candidate misstated education." And this article is about the supervisor race for San Mateo County, which is the election day is in 5 days for those of you who have not already voted by mail, like I did a couple weeks ago. And this brings up some very interesting questions. It's talking about candidate Carlos Romero, who is an East Palo Alto council member right now, and they're talking about that he misstated his education qualifications. They use one example where it said that at a candidate forum on October 30th of 2008, so that's 4 years ago, he said, quote, "I could talk to you about my degrees. I have one from Harvard and Stanford." Well, that's a pretty strong statement that he is declaring he has degrees. I can tell you this also, just very recently I saw on our public television, we have a station called Penn TV that produces a show called The Game, and Mark Simon is the man that was doing the interview, and he actually had all 7 candidates there. And I can tell you this, that I personally watched that show, and Mr. Romero didn't quite say he had degrees from Stanford and Harvard, but he said that he had credentials from Stanford and Harvard, so he certainly implied that he had these degrees. One thing that I constantly think about is the fact that San Mateo County has a history of allowing our political leaders, not all of them, but some of them, to actually just tell bold-faced lies. And a recent one that comes to my mind was when Supervisor Jerry Hill was interviewed by Channel 5, CBS 5 reporter out of San Francisco by the name of Robert Lyles. And that was an interview that took place approximately May 18th of 2007. And it was in response to Robert Lyles actually took a film crew down to Las Vegas to do a story on the Operation Dollhouse story, which is where our sheriff and undersheriff were detained by FBI agents in an illegal brothel. And Robert Lyles had asked Supervisor Jerry Hill about this amount of employees. We had 54 employees go from San Mateo County, and we had 11 county vehicles go on this trip. And he asked him, how did that happen? And Jerry Hill's response was that this trip happened under the radar. And his quote was, "No one was aware of these trips." And I actually sent an email to Robert Lyles to ask him to follow up with Supervisor Hill and ask him what hotel room he stayed in, because I had personal knowledge that Supervisor Jerry Hill was in Las Vegas that very same weekend. So, and nobody ever did anything about that. They didn't question Mr. Hill why he said that. I think back to this particular story, it's very important that our leaders of San Mateo County are able to tell the truth. It's rare. Let me give you another example. We have at least 3 candidates who have just recently won re-election to 4-year terms in different positions, and they are now already, and they took an oath saying that they would fulfill that time period duty, and yet they're all ready to jump ship and run to a different office. So I think oath taking is important, and I think telling the truth is important. So good luck, and make sure you vote this June 5th. Thank you.